What if the secret to burning belly fat was never about what you eat, but when? Most people wake up, grab whatever's fastest, and eat without thinking twice about order. That habit is quietly working against your hormones every single morning without you knowing. Here is something that will change how you see breakfast forever. You can eat the exact same meal, same toast, same fruit, same eggs, same total calories, and still get two completely different outcomes from your body simply by changing the sequence you eat it in. Same plate, different biology. That one shift can mean the difference between a smooth, focused morning and a sluggish, craving-filled day that derails everything before noon. This is not about eating less. This is not a new diet. This is not a complicated meal plan that requires you to weigh food or track macros obsessively. This is about one simple truth your body has been trying to show you for years. Sequence matters more than you think. And once you understand why, you will never look at breakfast the same way again. Today, we are breaking down exactly why eating carbohydrates first sends your blood sugar surging like a flood. That surge triggers a large insulin response and temporarily shuts the door on fat burning completely. Then we flip the script entirely. We use eggs as a protein anchor before you touch a single piece of toast or fruit. When you do that, the glucose curve flattens, you stay full longer, cravings quiet down, and that brutal 2 o'clock crash starts to disappear. Stay until the end because you will get a clear 5-step protocol you can follow tomorrow morning. No equipment needed, no special ingredients, just a smarter sequence.
Let us start with the idea that changes everything. Your body does not read a meal like a calorie spreadsheet. It reads it like a timeline. When you eat, your body does not simply receive food and process everything equally. It responds to what arrives first, how fast it arrives, and what signals that food sends before anything else enters the system. Think of it like this. Your digestion is a highway, and what you eat first determines whether traffic flows smoothly or crashes into gridlock within minutes. When you eat toast or drink juice first thing in the morning, fast-absorbing carbohydrates rush straight into your bloodstream like a convoy with no speed limit. Glucose floods in quickly, and your pancreas has to react hard and fast. Insulin surges to manage that incoming load, and here is the critical part most people never hear. When insulin rises sharply, your body prioritizes burning glucose over everything else. Fat burning essentially pauses. You feel a quick burst of energy, but it does not last, because fuel that arrives fast also disappears fast, and when it does, hunger returns harder, cravings spike, and by 2 in the afternoon, your energy collapses. That is not a willpower problem. That is a hormonal loop your breakfast quietly programmed before you even left the house. Now flip it. What happens when you eat eggs first instead? Protein and fat from the eggs slow the entire system down. They act like a speed regulator placed directly at the entry point of your digestive highway. Carbohydrates eaten afterward no longer rush in as a flood. They enter gradually, steadily, and gently. The blood sugar peak stays smaller. Insulin does not need to surge as aggressively, and your metabolism runs smoother for hours afterward without the dramatic crash.
You did not change the food on the plate. You only changed the order, and that order rewired the entire biological outcome of that meal. Now, the obvious question, why eggs specifically? Why not chicken? Why not a protein shake? Why not Greek yogurt? The answer is that an egg is not just a source of protein. It is a complete biological package built in a way that creates a very specific effect inside your digestive system when eaten first. Eggs contain high-quality protein bundled together with natural fats in the yolk. That combination of protein plus fat is what creates the anchoring effect. It does not just deliver amino acids. It switches on a set of digestive signals that actively slow the speed at which carbohydrates enter your bloodstream. No other common breakfast food creates this same dual effect quite as efficiently. Think of eggs as an anchor dropped before the boat moves. The anchor does not stop the meal. It controls the speed so nothing rushes out of control. But here is something important. Many people try eating eggs first and feel nothing different. Not because eggs do not work, because they are making a mistake that kills the effect before it even begins. The most common mistake is going egg white only. Removing the yolk feels like a healthy choice. But within this protocol, it is like pulling the engine out of a car and wondering why it doesn't move. The yolk is not optional. It is the most important part. And we will come back to exactly why in just a moment. So what is actually happening inside your body when you eat eggs first? Let us walk through the real mechanism so you understand why this works, not just that it works.
When fat from the egg yolk reaches your small intestine, it triggers the release of a hormone called CCK. You do not need to memorize that name. Just remember what it does. CCK sends two signals at once. It tells your brain that food has arrived, and it tells the gate at the bottom of your stomach, called the pyloric sphincter, to slow down. That gate controls how fast food moves from your stomach into your intestine. When CCK rises, that gate tightens. Food empties more slowly, and when carbohydrates come after the eggs, they cannot rush through. Instead of flooding your bloodstream with glucose all at once, the carbs trickle in slowly and steadily. The blood sugar peak is smaller. Insulin does not spike as hard. The entire system stays calmer. And here's what makes this feel almost unfair in a good way. You kept the same meal, you just changed the order. And that order activated a physical gate inside your body that changed the speed of everything. That is the stomach break. One gate, one hormone, one small change in timing, and your entire glucose response shifts. But the stomach break is only the first layer. There is a second mechanism working at the same time that is just as powerful. This one targets hunger directly. Inside your small intestine, there are specialized cells that act like nutrient sensors. As food passes through, these cells detect what is arriving and release hormones that send fullness signals directly to your brain. The two most important ones are GLP-1 and PYY. These are among the strongest natural satiety signals in the human body. They influence appetite centers in the brain and help you stay full for hours.
The tone is conversational, yet science-backed. It feels like a knowledgeable friend explaining biology in plain language rather than a lecture. It's motivational and slightly dramatic in places. Glucose floods the bloodstream like a tidal wave, which creates urgency and excitement. It avoids being preachy and frequently reassures the viewer this isn't an extreme diet. The overall emotional register is empowering. You can outsmart your biology. Here is where sequencing becomes truly powerful. If carbohydrates arrive first, glucose enters fast, insulin spikes, and you get pulled into the energy swing loop. Up fast, down fast, hungry again, craving sugar. But if protein from the eggs arrives first, it creates what you could call a preemptive satiety strike. Protein is one of the strongest triggers for GLP-1 and PYY in the gut. When amino acids from the eggs stimulate those gut sensors before carbs arrive, your fullness switch flips early. By the time the toast or fruit enters, your brain already knows the meal is sufficient. That is why people who practice sequencing consistently report the same thing. They do not feel the need to keep eating. They do not finish breakfast and immediately think about snacks. The hunger signal simply is not as loud. And the effects ripple forward. When satiety is strong in the morning, lunch feels easier. You arrive at it without desperation. Cravings between 2 and 4 in the afternoon soften. Food decisions throughout the day feel calmer and more controlled. You are not using willpower. You are using biology. Now back to the yolk, because this is where many people quietly sabotage the entire protocol without realizing it. Egg white omelets became popular because of cholesterol fear. The idea was simple. Less dietary fat means less cholesterol, means a healthier heart. But nutrition science has moved far beyond that simplified equation. When you remove the yolk, you keep some protein, but you lose the natural fats and micronutrients that drive the most important signals inside this protocol. No yolk means weaker CCK release. Weaker CCK means the pyloric gate does not tighten as effectively. The stomach brake mechanism is dulled. Carbs move faster. Glucose rises higher. Insulin spikes harder. But there is another layer most people never even hear about. The yolk contains choline, and choline is deeply connected to how your liver handles fat. Your liver functions like an energy dispatch center. It processes glucose, manages fat storage, and regulates key hormonal signals tied to insulin sensitivity and belly fat. When the liver becomes congested with fat, metabolic flexibility declines. Choline helps the liver build VLDL particles. Think of VLDL like cargo ships. Their job is to load fat from the liver and ship it out to tissues where it can be used. Without enough choline, the liver cannot build enough ships. Fat stays stuck. So when you discard the yolk to avoid fat, you may actually be removing the exact nutrient that helps your liver export fat. The yolk is not the enemy. It is the tool. Use whole eggs. Cook the whites fully, but keep the yolk soft. That soft, slightly runny yolk is where the signal lives. If it turns dry, gray, or chalky, the fats inside have been damaged by heat, and the biological effect weakens. Poached, soft-boiled, sunny side up, or gently scrambled over low heat. Any of these preserves the yolk. Any of these keeps the protocol intact. Here is the part most people never expect. What you eat for breakfast does not just affect your morning. It can directly shape how your body responds to lunch hours later. This is called the second meal effect, and it is one of the most underappreciated pieces of metabolic science in everyday nutrition.
When you apply sequencing correctly in the morning, the digestive rhythm it creates does not simply switch off when you finish eating. The satiety hormones that were activated, the slower gastric emptying, the gentler glucose rise, these effects linger. They create what you could call metabolic memory, a biological context that your body carries into the next meal. So when lunch arrives and you eat a sandwich or rice or potatoes, your body does not react like a system caught off guard. It reacts like a system that was already prepared. Absorption tends to be smoother. The glucose peak may be lower. Insulin responds more gently. And that means the 2 o'clock crash, the heavy eyelids, the foggy head, the desperate reach for coffee or sugar, it has less fuel to run on. You programmed a calmer afternoon before you even left the breakfast table. That is the real power of sequencing. You are not just eating for this meal. You are eating to decide how your body will behave for the next 6 hours. Now, there is one more piece that quietly destroys the protocol for many people, and it is something most people never connect to the problem: what you drink. A glass of juice alongside your eggs feels harmless, even natural, but liquid sugar does not follow the same rules as solid food. It does not need to wait for gastric emptying. It can bypass the pyloric gate and deliver glucose into your bloodstream almost immediately. You spent the first 10 minutes of breakfast building a careful biological brake system, and then you dissolved it in one sip. The stomach brake gets weakened. The satiety hormones have less time to work. Insulin still spikes. The protocol is compromised.
During this experiment, keep drinks simple. Water is perfect. Black coffee works well. No juice, no sweetened drinks, no flavored anything. Let the system run clean. If you want to amplify the effect further, try a small amount of apple cider vinegar diluted in water or fresh lemon water before or during breakfast. Acid in the digestive environment may slow the breakdown of starch into sugar, adding a second layer of defense on top of the stomach brake. You do not need the vinegar for this to work, but if you want to test the full protocol, it is worth trying once to see how you feel. Now here is the complete one-day experiment. 5 steps. Try it tomorrow morning, and then let your body give you the data. Step 1. Cook 2 or 3 whole eggs so the whites are fully set and the yolks are still soft. Use butter or ghee if you need cooking fat. Keep the heat moderate. Watch the yolk closely. Step 2. Look at your plate and identify the carbohydrates. Toast, fruit, oats, potatoes, whatever you have planned. Push that portion to the side. Do not touch it yet. Step 3. Eat the eggs first. Eat slowly and chew well. Digestion begins in the mouth. Slower eating gives GLP-1, PYY, and CCK enough time to activate in the right rhythm. Do not rush this part. Step 4. After finishing the eggs, wait 5 to 10 minutes. Drink water or black coffee during this window. This is your system setup time. The pyloric gate is tightening. Satiety hormones are rising. Do not break the rhythm with sugar. Step 5. Now eat the carbohydrates you set aside. At this point, your body is already in a regulated state. Glucose will enter more slowly. Blood sugar will rise more gently. Insulin will respond more coolly.
That is the entire protocol. No measuring, no calorie counting, no elimination diet. Just a smarter sequence applied to a breakfast you are already planning to eat. After the experiment, observe 3 things specifically. First, is your morning energy steadier than usual? Second, do you still crash or crave sugar between 2 and 4 in the afternoon? Third, does lunch feel easier to control without constant snacking or desperate hunger? If your answers show improvement, that is not coincidence. That is data. Your body responded to a biological shift in the order of a single meal. If you feel no difference, look at what may have broken the rhythm. Did you eat too fast? Was your gap between eggs and carbs long enough? Did a sugary drink enter the window early? Each of those is a variable you can adjust and test again. This is a real experiment. Your body is the lab, and the results belong entirely to you. One honest note before we close. If you have existing lipid concerns, cardiovascular conditions, or if a doctor is currently monitoring your cholesterol levels, always prioritize your personal lab results and professional medical guidance above any protocol you find online. This is a behavioral experiment rooted in real metabolic science, but biology is individual. What creates a powerful positive shift for most people may need to be adjusted for others. Health is personal and always worth treating that way. What makes egg sequencing genuinely exciting is not that it is extreme, it is that it is almost invisible. Same breakfast, same kitchen, same morning routine, but a completely different hormonal story unfolding inside your body simply because of the order you chose. Sequence is not just a detail. It turns out, sequence might be everything.